Good evening. I'm Rabbi Michael Stanger. This is my pre-Shabbat story for all you kids out there. Many, many, many years ago, there was once a man. He was a poor farmer, and he lived with his family in a very small shack. And there wasn't enough room for them. They always felt crowded, and they always felt that there was noise, and there was kvetching, and just never enough space to move around. So one day, shortly before Shabbat, he went to see his rabbi. And when the rabbi studied, he told him how the house was too crowded, there were too many mouths to feed, there wasn't enough room, everyone was on top of one another. The rabbi stroked his beard and said, "Let me ask you something. Do you have a goose?" And the man said, "Yes, I'm a farmer, I have a goose in my yard." He goes, "All right, for Shabbos, I want you to bring the goose in the house." The man said, "What? Just trust me, it'll work out. Bring the goose in the house." So the man couldn't refuse. Just before Shabbat started, he brought the goose into the house. The wife said, "What are you doing? We're about to have Shabbos dinner. This is what the rabbi told me. He said it would make us feel better." So they brought the goose into the house. The goose spent Shabbat. He was there all night. He was there all the next day. And of course, goose, like all geese, it quacked. It made noise. The feathers went everywhere. It got in everyone's soup. It got in everyone's way. And it was not relaxing. So as soon as Shabbat was over Saturday night, he ran to the rabbi's office and he said, "Rabbi, what did you tell me to do? You said bring a goose into the house and things are worse now." The rabbi said, "Oh, I see. All right, here's the solution. Leave the goose in, but do you have a lamb?" And the man said, "Yes." "Why?" Being afraid to ask. "All right, I want you to bring the lamb in the house." "What?" "Trust me, the lamb and the goose, it'll make you feel better. There's a solution, a method to my madness. Just don't question it." Man went home. He got the lamb from the yard, pulled the lamb into their house. Bah, bah. The lamb resisted, but came in. The wife said, "What are you doing?" The goose was still flapping around. The children were chasing it. The Rabbi said, "Bring the lamb into the house. We can't question the rabbi." He said this would help. The lamb went everywhere. It got on their bed. It got under the table. It knocked over spoons and bowls. It made a mess. The wool went everywhere. The next morning, the wife says, "I can't take this anymore. My God, between the goose and the lamb, and the kids crying more now than ever. You have to talk to the Rabbi. You must have misunderstood him." So the man went back to the Rabbi Sunday morning, and he said, "Rabbi, it's even worse. The goose was bad enough, but now with the lamb everywhere." The Rabbi said, "Yeah, no, I see. There was a chance that would happen. All right, one last question. Do you have a cow?" The man said, "Why?" "All right, just don't ask anything. Go home, bring your cow into the house." "Rabbi, there's barely enough room for my wife and all my children, and now we have the goose, and now we have the lamb, and there's noise everywhere, and there's smells everywhere." Rabbi said, "Just trust me. Then come to me tomorrow. It'll all work out." The man said, "Okay." He comes home, ties a rope around the cow, leads it into the house. The wife said, "No, no, what are you doing?" She tried to block him in the door. The Rebbe said, "We've got to bring this cow into the house to spend the day with us." Moo, moo. The cow was everywhere. He was in the kitchen and their bedroom at the same time, and he was knocking over tables and knocking over chairs, and the kids were riding on his back, and there was just, the goose was honking, and the lamb was braying, and the cow was mooing, and it was a mess, and they didn't sleep all night. And the next morning, the wife says, "Please, I beg you, go back to the Rabbi. There's got to be an answer. Maybe he's misunderstanding you. He thinks we have a huge bar, and this isn't the case. They can't be in the house anymore." And the man says, "You're right." So he goes back to the Rabbi the next morning. He goes into his study. He goes, "Rabbi, it's impossible. Between the goose honking, and between the lamb baaing, and between the moose mooing, and the cow mooing and knocking everything over, and the sounds, and my kids, and we can't take it. This is insane. We haven't gotten a night's sleep since Shabbos." And the Rabbi said, "Okay, here's what I want you to do. Take the goose out, and take the lamb out, and take the cow out, and then come to me the next day and tell me how nice it is." So the man went home. The wife said, "What did he say? What did he say? We don't have to put a goat in the house now, do we?" "No, he said I should take out the goose, and I should take out the lamb, and I should take out the cow." She said, "Thank God." So he took out the goose, honk, honk, honk. He took out the lamb, bah, goodbye. He took out the cow, no more mooing. And that night, they had a very nice dinner. And they slept very peacefully, the man and his wife and all their children. And there wasn't any sounds, there wasn't any noise, there wasn't any smells, nothing was knocked over. And he went back to the Rebbe the next day, and the Rebbe said, "So new, how did you sleep?" The man said, "Oh, I slept like a log. It was wonderful. You know what? It turns out, in comparison, there is enough room for all of us. It's not so bad." And the Rebbe said, "Exactly. It's all about perspective. Sometimes you have to put things in perspective. It could always be worse." So I just want to wish all of you with your families Shabbat Shalom. Remember, things could always get worse. Most of all, I just want you to be nice to your parents and your family. And I know it's a difficult time, but we'll get through it together. And stay safe and stay healthy. And know that I'm Rabbi Michael Stanger, and I'm always here for you. Thank you.